We had to feed him. We had to bath him, of which there was something, I don't know, traumatizing if I were to put it. We had to change him diapers. My name is Mikateko Moyane. I was born and bred in Tsakane, which is in the east end of Gauteng. I'm from a big family. I'm from a family of 9. My parents were blessed with 7 children. I attended my primary school at Kombindlela Primary School, and then I went to high school at Mamelong Comprehensive School, and then later went to Moses Mnisi High School, which is in Cottondale, Bushbuck Ridge. Growing up was quite okay. I really don't have any complaints. My parents ensured that we have all the necessities, and from what I remember when growing up is that my dad loved me and my siblings so very much, especially me and my little sister. He made sure that he took us everywhere he went. Although my dad was very strict, okay, both my parents are strict, but my dad was extremely strict. He was always yelling, shouting and everything, but above all, he had like endless love. He loved us unconditionally. And as for my mom was quiet. She was also strict, but she was quiet. Me and my siblings knew how to handle her. We knew the things that she liked and the things that she did not want us to do. So basically, we were a happy family. Things started to go wrong when my dad retired from work. He wanted us to relocate to Bushbuck Ridge because that's where my parents are originally from. So we were all reluctant, especially my mom. She didn't want to relocate. But then my dad decided that no, since we don't want to go with him, he and I will go to Bush alone. And then we were like, no, it's okay. Maybe we'll join you the following year, which was in 2012. So he decided to go to Bush in 2012. It was around April. And then 2 weeks later, he told my mom that he's not feeling well. And then my mom decided that it's better if she can go to Bush and be with him up until he's okay. Okay, so my mom left me, my little sister and my brother at Tsakane, and then she went to Bush. And then when she got there, she told us, no, my dad is getting better. So eventually he got better. So after that, my mom started to be sick. Immediately after my dad recovered, she started getting sick, but not too sick. But then, yeah, she was not feeling well. Okay, she stayed there. Okay, they both stayed there it was April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. And mind you, I had last seen her, it was in April. So she used to call us every day and to check up how we were doing and everything. So I remember it was Monday, the 12th of November, 2012, if I'm not mistaken. My mom did not call. And then Tuesday, she did not call. Wednesday, she did not call. And then I decided to call her. And then when I called her, her phone was off. Then I was like, oh, okay, it's fine. And then on Thursday, I called her again. Her phone was off. And then I decided to call my dad. And then I asked her, oh, where's mom? Because I've been trying to reach her and her phone is off. And then my dad told me that, no, your mom hasn't been well. So we decided to take her to hospital. But call me tomorrow. Okay, that was my dad. He said I should call him on Friday at 10 or between 10 and 11, then I will be able to talk to my mom. And then I said, okay, cool. And I was busy writing my exams at the time. So on Friday, I woke up in the morning, I went to write my exam. I was writing maths paper 1, if I remember correctly. And then after writing, I immediately went home. So while I was on my way home, I bumped into my brother. And I was a bit surprised because it was, I think, 9:30 to 10 a.m. Like he was supposed to be at work. But then I bumped into him. I was like, oh, okay, fine. He just waved at me and then I waved back and then I went home. So there was no one there. So when I got home, my phone, I had left my phone in the kitchen. So I immediately took my phone and there were a lot of missed calls, but then I did not mind them because I was like, no, I have to call my dad so that I can speak to my mom. And that's what I did. And okay, there were a lot of missed calls and WhatsApp messages on my cell phone. So as I was about to call my dad, my phone rang and it was my cousin, Nomsama Kobele. And then I spoke to her and then she asked, how are you? And I'm like, I'm fine and whatever. Okay, so she immediately hung up and then I called my dad. And I was like, hi dad, are you in hospital? Can I please speak to my mom? And he was like, your mom passed on this morning. Oh, okay. I immediately hung up because I couldn't believe what he had told me. So I opened my WhatsApp and there were a lot of condolences messages. From there, I don't know what happened, and what I remember is that it was later I was with my brother and then there were a lot of people at home. Then I remember later on I spoke to my dad again and then he said, no, we have to come to Bush in the morning. And that was it. And I was so heartbroken. I did not expect my mom to just pass away just like that because I haven't seen her like in a very long time and I was looking forward to be with her because I was busy with my exams and I said to myself, immediately when I finish writing, me and my little sister, we are going to Bush to be with my parents because it was like difficult, you know. We were used to being with my parents and then the next thing it was only the three of us and they were not there. And then we went to Bush in 2013 to stay with my dad. I love my dad so very much. He made sure that he provides for us. He made sure that me and my little sister are okay. He was just a mother and a father, and above all, he loved us unconditionally. So we didn't feel that my mom was not with us anymore. So we went to stay with my dad. It was me, my little sister, and my brother, my dad's second born. And then we stayed with him. Life was fine. It was okay. And up until I went to varsity. By the way, I attended my varsity at the University of Limpopo. So when I was doing my second year, it was November again. I remember I was busy with my exams. So I think it was around 3 or 4 a.m. and I was not sleeping at that time because I was struggling to sleep. But then I ended up watching movies up until that time when I received a call from my sister. And then she asked, how are you? And then I said, I'm okay. And then she asked me, why are you not sleeping at this time? And then I told her that I'm struggling to sleep. But then I could tell that she was not okay. It's like she was crying or something. And then I was like, why are you calling me at this time? She was like, I have bad news. And mind you, my dad was sick at the time. She was very sick. And like, I was like, what is it? And then she said to me, Budvus, who's my brother, has been shot. I'm like how? What's happening? What happened? And then she immediately hung up. And at that time, I didn't know who to call and whatever. So I was just shocked up until around 7 a.m. where I decided to call my other brother. And then he narrated the whole thing. He told me that we don't have the full story, but what we know is that they broke into our home and then they shot him, like only him. Okay, I was so shocked, like I couldn't believe it. It felt like I was dreaming, because I mean, like, how is it even possible? I couldn't believe it. Then after that, I called my dad, and then I realized that my dad hasn't been told or anything like that, because it was Monday morning. So he was shot, it was Sunday when he was shot, actually Monday, around 3 a.m. Then I called my dad, and then by the way, I could tell that he doesn't know anything. So I didn't say much to him. I only said that, no, I was just greeting you. Okay, fine. So on that particular Monday, my dad was waiting for my brother so that he can take him to the doctor, because as I said that he was ill. So when I was told, my dad had waited for my brother up until 9 a.m. where my cousins came and told my dad what had happened. So my father, really, he didn't take it too well. He was sick, like too sick after they told him like as to what happened. And that was late 2017. And then, okay, life continued up until in November again, 2018. And I was busy with my exams, and then they told me that, no, your dad is very, very sick. And then, okay, we had to go to Bush. And then when we got there, he was not well. Then we took him to hospital. I think he stayed there for 3 weeks. After that, he was discharged, and then we went home with him. So my brother was in Tsakane. Then we've contacted him and told him that you need to come to Bush so that you can assist us in terms of taking care of dad, because we are females and it's really tough, you know, because my dad couldn't do anything for himself. And then he said, no, I'll come. Okay, fine. Then I was with my elder sister and my younger sister. We had to feed him. We had to bath him, of which there was something, I don't know, traumatizing if I were to put it. We had to change him diapers, and out of like both my sisters, I was the strongest one because I stayed with my dad before. So basically I was used to taking care of him, but when he was sick. But then this time it was just different because he just couldn't do anything for himself. So we did just that up until my brother arrived. And then when he arrived, he said, no, I cannot stay here. We have to go to Tsakane. And then we were like, but then you can see that our dad is very sick. Then was like, no, he'll be fine. Okay, fine. We went to Tsakane. On the very same day when we got there, my dad was very, very, very sick. He couldn't talk, he couldn't do anything. But then the following day, he got better. We were able to communicate with him. Then my brother was there, but then he just didn't care. I still had to do everything. I had to feed my dad, I had to bath him, I had to change positions. So it was quite difficult for me. I remember on the 24th of December 2018. Then my brother said to me, I'm going where? And then I was like, but then how can you leave me with my dad, whereas you can see that he's extremely sick? And then he was like, no, I'll be back in the morning. Then I was like, oh, okay, fine. But then that night I saw a movie. My dad couldn't, okay, he was able to talk, but then it was quite difficult because I had to watch him the whole night. I had to watch him so that he doesn't fall, because whenever he turned, he would like fall sometimes. So I had to sit on the chair and watch him so that he doesn't fall. So I remember it was around 3 a.m. He called me and then he said I should scratch his back. His back is itchy. And then I did just that. I scratched him for a very long time, I think for more than an hour. And then there was a time where when I was busy scratching his back, he would scratch his arms as well. And then I asked him, like, are your arms also itchy? And then he said yes. And then I did just that up until he fell asleep. In the morning, I made him food. I tried feeding him, but then he didn't have any appetite because he struggled to swallow. I don't know what was happening in his throat. I think his throat were swollen or something. And then whenever I would feed him food, he wouldn't swallow. So it became a challenge because he had to eat so that he can take his medication. But then that day he didn't want to do anything. Okay. And then my sisters arrived at home. I think it was around 12 to 1. And my brother was not back at that time, and it was on Christmas Day. Mind you, people were having fun, excited that it's Christmas, and then there I was with my sick dad, not knowing what to do. I cried so much that day. But then my sisters arrived, and then when they got home, they said, no, we have to take him to hospital because the way things are, no, he's not good looking. And then that's what happened. They took my dad to hospital. And then later on, okay, they came back, and then later on around 7, we received a call that my dad is no more. Okay, fine. I was so hurt, I did not know what's happening, because one moment I have both my parents, then the next I am an orphan. I just didn't believe what was happening. I did not know why I was losing the people that I love so much. But then I told myself that, what, all is well. God will see me through. And then, okay, fine. 2019, I went back to 2019 I went back to school. And then when I got there, I couldn't cope. I couldn't believe that my dad was no more. That one person that I loved wholeheartedly, that one person that I loved more than life itself was no more. So I struggled up until I was diagnosed with depression, and I had to take antidepressants for about 6 months or so, up until I decided that, I don't want them anymore. But it was difficult for me to cope. And then that's when I started taking alcohol. I would wake up in the morning, go to a liquor shop and buy myself. And mind you, I didn't want like those 5%, 6% kind of alcohol. I wanted like 43%. So I would buy alcohol. I would drink alcohol, and then up until I decided that, this is not for me. And then, okay, it was fine. And then 2020, it was during lockdown, so I was home in Tsakane the entire time. But then it happened that I relapsed. It was in October, and when I relapsed, I couldn't stop blaming myself. I was blaming myself that I did this to myself. I should have known better and whatever, because my boyfriend was the cause. He was the reason why I went back to depression. And then I remember I was still head home. It happened the same way that I started taking alcohol again. I would wake up in the morning, go to a liquor shop, buy alcohol, drink, and fall asleep and whatsoever. And to tell that I was not drinking for enjoyment, I would drink a whiskey as raw as it was. I wouldn't dilute it or anything. So okay, I decided to go back to race because my boyfriend started neglecting me, and then I didn't take that too well. It really had me so deep. But then I went back to rest, and when I went back to rest, I was admitted at hospital for about a week, if I'm not mistaken. And then I started taking antidepressants again. Then I couldn't stop blaming myself. I blamed myself that I should have known better. I shouldn't have dated him and things like that. And then I used to say to myself, like, how can I allow someone's son to do this to me? Because depression is a monster. It keeps on telling you that you should take your own life. It tells you that life is not worth living, and you also start to focus on all the negative things that are happening in your life. So that's basically depression, and it is just a monster, and I wouldn't wish it on any person. So that's how it is. I started taking them again up until January this year, where I also told myself that no, I don't want to take antidepressants anymore. Let me stop. But then I had days where I would drink alcohol, I would overdose sleeping tablets, and it was not my intention to end my life or to commit suicide, but I just told myself that whatever that happens, let it happen. So I would overdose the sleeping tablets, but then when I wake up, I would be okay. So it happened that this year, around July, early July, my sister had COVID. So we used to communicate up until she told me that she's not feeling well. She's going to the hospital. And I was like, oh, okay. So I took this whole thing lightly because I was like, no, it's COVID. She'll definitely be fine. And then 2 weeks later, I received a call from my other sister. Then she told me that my sister is in ICU. Apparently, she cannot do anything and whatsoever. And then I was so worried, but told myself that she will be fine. She will be okay. It's COVID. I know a lot of people who had COVID, but they have recovered. So we used to pray every day for her. We prayed so much up until where I decided that, let me just stop praying, because we've been praying, but then nothing is happening. Where is God? Why is he not answering our prayers? We prayed, nothing was happening. So I decided to stop praying. And then someone told me that the Bible says you need to pray without ceasing. And then I continued to pray. And then we used to go to, because she was in Polokwane, in Mediclinic Polokwane, so we used to go there and visit her almost every weekend. But then by the way she was, I could tell that she's not well. She's in pain. And then I remember the last time when I went to visit her, I was so heartbroken because I had went there with my cousin. Then when I came back, I was so heartbroken. I was in myself. I used to cry every day. I remember this one time I was sleeping in the sitting room, and then I cried the entire night. I couldn't believe what was happening. I just wanted her to get better, to be better. But then this other time, my sister's friend who works at Polokwane Mediclinic, she contacted us and told us, my sister is well. Because she was in ICU, so she couldn't do anything, and then she told us no, she had waken up. Now I'm able to communicate with her and whatsoever, and I was so happy. And then I remember it was Monday the 21st. No, it was Tuesday the 21st of September, because we also used to call the hospital every day to check up on her, and then they would tell us that no, she's fine. And then on the 21st of September, which was Tuesday, I called the hospital and asked how she was, and then they told me that no, she's way too better. We are even communicating with us. She's telling us that she wants to go home, and I was like, oh, okay, that's good news then. And I asked if it's possible for her to go home, and then they told me that not yet, but soon. And then I was like, okay. I was at work when I called the hospital. It was around 9. And then, okay, after I knocked off, I went straight home. And then when I got home, my brother was like, did Rejoice call you? Rejoice is my older sister. And I was like, no, she didn't call me. And then he was like, Akani is no more. Hey, I don't know what happened that day. Like, I couldn't believe it. You know, I asked myself, I asked God, what's happening to my family? I mean, like, we keep on burying people. I couldn't believe it. Like, I asked him, like, how? Because I called in the morning and they told me that she's fine, she's okay, she's even talking to them. And she was like, yeah, that's what I was also told, but unfortunately, she's no more. You know, it hurts to lose family members, because these people, all of these people, my mom, my dad, my brother, and even my sister, I have memories with them, a lot of memories with them. These are people that I used to stay with, the people that I used to love so much. But then today, they are no longer with us. And then above everything that has been happening, whenever I lose a family member, usually it would be when I would be writing my exams, and I would be disturbed during the process. But then above all, I thank God that I managed to graduate from varsity. And my late sister, she's that one person who encouraged me to study. You know, she told me that when you are educated, you are almost everything. When you have education, you have everything. So I was hurt, like, deeply. Even now, it's hard for me to process the fact that she's no more. Because when my brother told me that she's no more, I was like, where to from here? Because one moment we were a happy family, we were just happy, and then the next thing, we are not complete, others are no more. So it's just tough for me, because I remember I cry a lot. I cry myself to sleep almost every day. And people think that I have life figured out, because I'm one person who has a sense of humor. I'm always smiling, but the things that I go through each and every day are just unbearable. And I thank God, because He gives me the strength to face the world each and every day. It's tough, I don't want to lie. But then above all, I'm looking for, because there are days where I did not look forward to the next, honestly. Even now, there are days where I do not look forward to the next. But then I just know that I've got everything, God has everything figured out. And then despite that, there were people who would tell me that I'm too quiet, well, according to them, that I'm too quiet, I won't be a lawyer, because if you are a lawyer, apparently you need to be talkative and stuff. But then I would tell them, especially my sister would say that I should tell them that if God did not want me to be a lawyer, I wouldn't be one today. My sister would encourage me to do better in life and not to listen to what people are saying. Because people will always talk. Whether you do good or you do bad, people will always talk. And I'm so glad that can't say I've achieved all the things that I wanted to achieve in life, but I'm happy with the way things are. Although it's tough to do the things without your loved ones, I wanted to live for my dad. You know, I owed him great things in life. And I remember when I had completed my degree, I really wanted my parents to celebrate with me, but then they were not there. At least my late sister was there to celebrate with me, and my other siblings are there to celebrate with me. And as I've said, that I've learned that I shouldn't listen to people's negativity. I should focus on doing better and do what makes me happy. I know that one day I will be happy again. And this thing of losing loved ones, it makes me it has a negative impact in my life in a way, because I'm even afraid of having my own children, thinking that what if something bad happens to my babies or anything like that. But then I do know that I will have the strength to face the world and things will be better. So above all, I have realized that as a person, you shouldn't stop dreaming. You should follow your dreams. You should, obstacles will be there. Life will not be as smooth as you anticipate it to be, but then one thing for sure, things do definitely get better and things will definitely work out. Hi, my name is Mikateko Moyane and I have been through the most.